The incredible maneuverability of the helicopter has revolutionized the way scientists gather information about our wild animals. It's also added a certain amount of risk to the job. This year, for the first time in over a decade, the Department of Fish and Game has experienced 2 helicopter crashes. No one was seriously injured, but it was enough to cause the agency to take another look at its training policy.
I think there's an increased awareness, and I suspect that a lot of our folks in the field will be more alert to what they're supposed to be looking for, and we'll probably be setting up some additional training or retraining or re-emphasis.
Biologists from the Idaho Department of Fish and Game will fly over 2,000 hours in 1999, conducting wildlife counts, capturing animals for research studies, surveying salmon habitat, and planting fish in Idaho's mountain lakes. All flights are booked through the U.S. Office of Aircraft Services, or OAS. That's been Fish and Game policy since 1987, when a tragic helicopter accident took the life of a pilot and seriously injured a wildlife biologist and a conservation officer. They were flying in a Hiller helicopter along the middle fork of the Salmon River, counting bighorn sheep. On the way back to base camp, the tail rotor failed.
We just spun into the mountainside and rolled down the hill. Pretty nasty accident. Kind of a combination of equipment failure and pilot error put us on the ground. That was about 6 o'clock in the evening, and the officer and I we had some minor injuries, but the pilot was pretty seriously injured. And we couldn't get out to anyone, couldn't talk to anyone, no one could find us until the next morning. And by that time, the pilot had died during the course of the night. So I guess for me personally, that's when I started taking the flying a lot more seriously, particularly the safety.
Since Mike's accident, a strict safety program has been instituted at Fish and Game. In addition to the policy that all flights must be booked with OAS-approved aircraft and pilots, a flight following system has been introduced.
86 Fox is off Ball Mountain Helibase. I'll be working the Ball Mountain training.
It's a check-in procedure where the aircraft is contacted every hour from the ground.
In a helicopter crash or aircraft accident, the first 24 hours are really important, especially for injured passengers or pilots. And then the next 48 to 72 hours is important for uninjured people as far as survival rates. So if you have a flight plan followed and you're actively following with somebody, you cut down that response time.
Wildlife biologist Jeff Rollman estimates he flies 180 hours annually for Fish and Game. But this winter his luck ran out. He was involved in a helicopter accident with veteran pilot Jim Pope at Taylor Ranch on the Middle Fork of the Salmon River.
Yeah, it's the first time I've had an accident, first time I've even had a real close call, and it all happened in one.
They were coming in on a typical landing when they suddenly dropped about 8 feet to the ground, and then the problems really began.
After the landing, the power in the rotor blades just started, the torque in them and everything started churning up the ship. You know, it twisted the shafts and things that caused the rotor blades to change directions, and that's mainly what did the damage to the ship.
Jeff had a few things in his favor. He was flying with an experienced pilot, and he was well trained himself in how to react in an emergency. He was very shaken, and it was extremely difficult the first time he climbed back into a helicopter. But despite all this, Jeff doesn't feel the accident was due to insufficient safety precautions.
I think it's something that was a fluke. You know, I wouldn't expect it to happen again. You know, it's just not something I even expected then. You know, I think when you look at the odds and the hours in the air and stuff, eventually, you know, you get strings of bad luck, and I think hopefully that's what we've just gone through.
Any system isn't perfect, but we think it's a real good system and a safe system.